Welcome back to another episode of the South by East podcast, where we discuss everything from music, the culture, the scriptures, and everything in between.
My mom just went shopping.
And so, Brail, man, you know what? Sometimes it's only later in life when you discover how deep in the struggle you was.
100%.
Like I
100%.
Look, you don't realize how sometimes
Right,
you look back and you're like, oh man.
I had to ask my mama, Mama, are we poor? I think I was 15 years old. She said, she like laughed at me. She said, yes. I was like, I didn't know. This is the only life I've known.
Man, we didn't always have a car. And my mama in her whole life never owned a car that was made in the same decade in which she owned it. Right? And so you know,
right.
And so you start seeing it, it's like, oh man, how many cars did we actually have that actually had air conditioning?
Right.
I remember one car, man, where we always used to have to slide in from one side. It was old Nova. We had a string that kept the driver's side, and we all had to slide in on the bench seat from the right side.
Sometimes something happened, you feel like you made it, and it's like, no, you just making it.
And so, And so, so when you shared this recent video, man, about the trenches, it rung a note with me. Let's see what we're
all right.
Well, my mom just went shopping, so all the cereal are all closed, so we can pretty much open whichever one you want to open. What kind of cereal you like?
Yeah. You got Cookie Crisp?
Cookie Crisp.
That's my favorite. Cookie Crisp.
Yeah, we got cookies. We got cookies in here.
Cookie. I don't even know what that is. I never heard that.
It's cookies. It's not Cookie Crisp. It's cookies. Like with the clown?
Nope, I never heard of that. I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
What about something else?
Something else.
Like Fruit Loops. You got Fruit Loops? I like Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops. Oh yeah. We got silly circles in here.
Silly circles.
Yo, silly.
Nope, I don't know. I never had silly circles.
So
I don't.
Y'all can watch the rest of it.
So here's the deal. You know, Cambodia plays a part that's near and dear to my heart, and there's a shirt that I feel like every time someone went to Cambodia, their first time, they would always get this shirt, and it would say same but different.
same
but different. And that's what I feel like. And bro, you know, like if you grew up in certain households, you knew like what was your favorite struggle cereal?
Listen, I had to go with. So I was a Fruit Loops fan, but we didn't have those. We had two different versions. Okay. We had Tutti Fruities.
Yes.
And Fruit Rounds.
Oh yes.
Now the thing was, here's the thing. Fruit Loops taste like Fruit Loops, but Tutti Fruities somehow had more sugar than even Fruit Loops had, and Fruit Loops are just pure sugar.
And probably more dye.
Right, yeah.
You probably halfway on your way to cancer.
That's probably why I had ADHD. That's probably why I had ADHD right there, right there. But the Fruit Rounds, they tasted like actual fruit. Like all the different colors actually have flavors. Like the lime tasted kind of like, I don't know if it tasted like lime, but it tasted different from the strawberry. And maybe it was just the flavor of the dye. So I'm with the Fruit Rounds. What were you messing with? What were you messing with?
So, okay. I grew up, I loved, this is before, you mature a little bit, you can't have all the sugar. And I love Frosted Flakes.
Okay.
And so there was off-brand of that. But then Captain Crunch.
Ooh,
and
Crunch,
so here's the deal, right? The real Captain Crunch already tore your mouth up. Like
it was.
Oh man,
it's cutting you up.
Look,
Doritos.
You would look like you had been in a fight with Buster Douglas after eating a bowl of Captain Crunch. But then they had the King Vitamin. I'm like, but my favorite was the Crunch Berries. But like the King Vitamin, you like, what does this has nothing to do with vitamins.
Nothing at all.
Like King Vitamin. And bro, so it was like all this stuff and so for real, man, like the struggle. So grilled cheese was one of my favorite meals growing up. Like Did y'all ever get government cheese?
No, we didn't have government cheese.
See, so here's the deal that's bad about government cheese. You know, it used to come in the big block. They look like Velveeta almost.
I've seen.
But here's the problem: as a little kid, it was unsliced, and you had to slice it. As a little kid, you don't have the muscle control to be able to cut a good, even like down slice to put on your like sandwich. And government cheese was already hard to melt.
Yeah.
And so you'd always start kind of trying to be thin up here because back then Kraft Singles was the premium.
Yeah, that was
the premium, right? But you couldn't always afford that.
No.
And so you would start off trying to be thin here, and by the end you would get to like this joker look like a wedge, like a doorstop. It looked like a doorstop that now you're trying to make a grilled cheese with a doorstop shaped piece of cheese.
So you got no cheese on this part of the bread.
Oh man, come on, dude.
Man, so here's what we did. So we grocery shopped only at certain times, but it would always overlap. And Mom was like, "Hey, we still got jelly in there, so I ain't getting no more jelly." So then eventually it's like, "All right, you got bread." And you ain't got no bread, but you got jelly. So then, like sometimes, bro, I just be like, I'm gonna put jelly on whatever. I got crackers. I'm gonna put jelly on it.
We used to put jelly, peanut butter and jelly on saltines.
Then we get bread, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give me a jelly sandwich. And it's like, oh, we out of the jelly now. It's like, well, we weren't out of it when I went shopping. So it's like, man, I'd have hot dogs with no buns with no hot dogs, and like I like specific things. So I'm like, all right, I want ketchup and mustard. Nah, you gotta learn to like relish, because that might be all we got is relish. So you got a weenie with some relish, and then you got a bun. Now I've had a bun, and I put ketchup, mustard, and relish in it, and just pretended like there was a hot dog there.
I'm gonna say something, bro, that's about to be. I grew up in a house with a lot of teenage pregnancies.
Okay.
And bro, it used to be the greatest blessing. Because they would get wick.
Oh.
And bro, on wick, this is before they started letting you get the Honey Nut Cheerios, where you had to get the regular Cheerios. And you know, them jokers do not hold the sugar. You can try to sprinkle sugar on
it's just
regular.
In the bottom of the bowl.
It's just in the bottom of the bowl, bro. And then, but you can get eggs. So we're going to cook eggs, all that. We're going to cook so many egg sandwiches. Yeah. Bro, oh, man, look, man, you going to, I can tell you, I was in high school in home ec, and my teacher was trying to teach us, like, we did this taste test of different orange juices. And I told the class before we started, I said, I bet you any amount of money, I can tell you what's going to be Texan orange juice. Because that's what they gave you on WIC, bro. Oh, I knew
Sunny D.
I was telling my wife the other night, I was like, look, they used to give you cans that had like a white label that just said pork on it. Like, it'd be like this black outline drawn of a pig or beef. It'd just be like this black outline drawn. Look, fam. And I was like, oh, it's bad. So like there were certain deals like Viennas. We used to hit that all the time, man. I can't do the Viennas anymore. There's some I can't do it anymore. And I tried out that hurricane. When I was living down in Texas, we had a hurricane. I tried. I was like,
I can't do wieners. Like I need brats or something. I can't do wieners.
I can't do
bologna anymore.
The cheap Totino's pizzas, like the little 3 for $99 or whatever, like with the little square fake imitation pepperoni.
No.
Can't do it.
Man, you know how it's like, when you poor, somehow you always find some kind of money to spend on something you really don't need. Me and my mom used to sit around, because my mom would never take government assistance, and my mom got bougie taste. So it just, sometimes we'd be living large, and sometimes we just living. And we'd be sitting around the couch, and mom was like, we ain't really got nothing to cook. You got some change over? Look at that couch. So we just search around the house for change, and then we go to Taco Bell. And we just go to Taco Bell, get however much we have, man.
I'm gonna tell you something.
And make it happen that night.
I don't know what happened to this world, but the thing that used to be able to get chicken wings so cheap.
Yeah, that is not it.
So we used to fry chicken wings all the time, and then we would fry biscuits in the same oil, deep fried biscuits, and cook rice because you could always get rice for cheap.
Yeah, we had rice.
Fried chicken wings. white rice, fried biscuits, bro. You could. Oh, look, man,
That
look,
sound fire.
look.
Fire.
You could, man.
Now we did have a lot of chicken and rice though. We had a lot of chicken.
Oh,
I hated
man.
chicken.
And then we
As
always,
a kid, I hated chicken.
We
I
had
did
like
not want chicken.
this, those little kind of rectangle, square barbecue pits you could get. It had the red lid, black bottom.
We had one of those. Me and my aunt on the other side of the street. We both had. Yes, yeah, we on there.
Look,
yeah.
Look.
We got a bullet in one of our grills.
I'm about to say,
we had a bullet
somebody died
and stay inside the grill.
A building get paid. Look, fam, go get some charcoal. We're gonna throw some on the grill. If it ain't nothing but a pack of weenies, some summer sausages cut up.
Put it on the grill. Oh yeah.
We're gonna light up this grill. We're gonna get the spades and dominoes going, and we're gonna be all right. Yeah. And that's what, like, look.
Every holiday.
But here's the deal. Struggling like that and knowing how to make it, man, it puts some things in perspective to where, like, growing up as a kid, you're like, you know what? Tim Keller talks about no matter how you try to prepare, how you try to build this nice, neat life, how you try to put the right things in place for your life, there is going to be something that happens that ruins it all. Mm-hmm. No matter how you try to work out and eat right or whatever else, there's going to be something in your life that ruins this nice little life that you try to build. Mm-hmm. And, man, I'm so thankful for the struggle. Yeah. Because it helps put things in perspective of, like, how bad is this really?
Really. I feel like, so I had a campaign that I did, 2019, 2018, something like that. It was called Black and Privileged. And it was that same concept. It was like, man, the things that I have gone through, that I have done, they built a resiliency in me and a spirit of adaptation that I don't see in my brothers and sisters that haven't had to struggle the same way. And that's just part of life experience. And it's like I see great blessing in my affliction. And I'm glad that, like, my kids don't have to sit in that situation, and I can also prepare my kids with the things that I have learned, even where they are now, so they can be ready for their next step too.
Yeah, and so I say we have a lot of good partnerships in our organization, and I say one of the things that prepared me to be able to partner in the way we do is growing up in the struggle, because not being able to be self-sufficient taught me a lot about how to live communally. And that also feeds into how we look at establishing partnerships and how to partner well and look at what each party brings to the table and how we can come to this collective solution that leads to both of us winning. And where it doesn't have to be win-lose, but it could be win-win.
Everybody eats.
And and that's what we're saying, like, man, because that same attitude from when we cut grass or went to the candy house and we're always going to share and eat, or we're always going to go to the movies and share popcorn.
The homies come over to the house, what you got? Hey, here's what I got. Bring what you got.
Yeah, or when it was in college where it's like, you got a pack of chicken, or I got a couple of cans of green beans.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Yep.
So it's one of those deals where you look at that and those things teach you something, but then you never lose that, man. You never lose that. But if you don't have that experience of how to make things work, you can feel like all life is gonna fall apart when things don't go your way. And I remember being a youth pastor with some kids, and I told them at one point, I was like, look, fam, some of y'all are gonna get out of your parents' house and life is gonna slap you in the mouth.
In the teeth.
And you ain't gonna know how to take it because
you ain't never been slapped in the mouth.
And I'm like, it's too often, man, where I just think sometimes by trying to remove all the hurdles from someone's life, we actually do them more damage than good. Yeah. And like, look, I'm not of the crowd either of trying to make things artificially hard.
Right.
Look, the people that say, well, I paid for my own college, so I'm gonna make my kids take out student loans. Time out, fam.
Right.
Like
Why? Like that's
why? Why would I want my kids to have to?
Right.
No,
Like no. Like,
no,
like,
no.
at all.
And like there's healthy ways of doing it, and I don't believe that just because I went through something that somebody else needs to go through something.
Right. I agree.
Look, the person who believes that experience is the best teacher is going to have a really hard life. And my goal is not for the people I walk with to have a hard life. It's for them to have an informed one.
Yeah.
Where hopefully they can learn from my mistakes and my successes. And it can, one, help them traverse possible pitfalls before they get there. And then two, it can provide a pathway for greater success that acts as a launching pad for them.
I don't want my kids to go through what I went through because I don't want my kids to get to where I was. I want them to go further. And that means I got to start them at a different place. But what about y'all? What do y'all think, man? What are your favorite struggle foods or struggle activities? Or if your life was different, we'd like to hear about that. What did that look like for you? And how did that impact you growing up? What did it teach you?
Did you put the butter on first or the cinnamon on first on your cinnamon toast?
Hey. Talk to us about it in the comments. Continue to comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see you next week
in the intersection.